Now we're back for some more F1 Manager, and this one is the Canadian Grand Prix, which is a big race for us because, of course, Lance Stroll is one of our drivers. It's his home race, and also the head honcho, the boss, Mr. Lawrence Stroll. It's, a big race for the team, I'd say, and big pressure to perform here today. So we're going to try and hopefully have a decent weekend, and a way we might be able to achieve that is via the weather forecast, because as you can see on the right hand side, for the first time in this entire series so far, we have rain forecast Friday, Saturday and Sunday. So far, we've had 8 rounds, we've had not one drop of rain, but that is about to change here this weekend. If you haven't seen the previous episode, guys, at Baku, check it out, link in the top right before we jump into potential spoilers. And yeah, if you're going to enjoy today's episode, then leave a like and subscribe for more, and let's get into the updates heading into this weekend. Now recently we've been on a pretty good run of form, and the board are happy with us in terms of race performance. Objectives and finances are satisfied. We should get some updates on those later on in the season, but the confidence is high, and that is what we want. We currently have 1 out of 11 in terms of 11 points finishes by 2024, so we're working towards hopefully, achieving that goal, and we've got 3 seasons remaining to do it, so I think we should more than easily be able to achieve that. For this weekend, we do have our final updates on the car, I believe. Now, as you can see here, we've got back-to-back race weekends, and then next we've got a few obligations, but nothing really happening. The key thing, though, for us is we've got the manufacturing for side pods and chassis, which is going to happen tomorrow. So we might have new parts available if we have issues, but we're going to probably save these for the next race weekend. The side pods and the chassis, of course, are just spares, so it's not really a concern. We've got a bit of scouting as well for Isaac Hadjar in F3 and Mick Schumacher, although we're going to probably do some more scouting down the line. And also for our car this weekend, as you can see here, current projects, we are working on a rear wing. This is going to be the final performance upgrade. The chassis and the side pods are spares, what we're manufacturing right now, but in terms of performance, the rear wing is going to be the last one that we work on before we start to consider working on research and changing our approach for next season, because of course we've got the regulation changes coming in, so it's important that we try and get ahead of the curve. So yeah, with that said, let's get into the race weekend then, and let's get to work. We're going to do some race prep really quick for the performance targets, so let's have a look. Now for this event, we are going to go all out. So we're going to go for a qualifying position, which means P15 or above with 1 driver. That also means reach Q2 with 1 driver, so 15th or above. For the race, we're going to go for finishing position, so P15 or above. Again, I'm optimistic we can make that happen. And then, of course, last race we activated the qualifying position streak, and we've also got an active finishing position streak. So yeah, we're looking good, and I think we can start to hopefully regularly hit these targets. So with that said, let's get into practice.
Formula One is back in Montreal. Let's hope it's not going to be Groundhog Day. The local rodents have disrupted more than one race day here in the past. The Canadian Grand Prix is ready to kick off, and the only drama on the tracks we want to see is the best drivers in the world battling it out for a place on that podium. Gilles Villeneuve is a quick, free-flowing circuit in parts, with a stop-start aspect thrown in for good measure around the chicanes and hairpin bends. Medium-speed downforce will play a large part in avoiding the wall of champions and ensuring success at this iconic track. The season is about halfway through, and it makes me wonder what else is in store for the teams. Well, there's only one way to find out. Stay right here, because we're just getting started.
Now then, confirmation of the rain in Friday, Saturday and Sunday across the entire weekend. Whether it's going to be dynamic weather, mixed conditions, I don't know, or whether it's going to be consistent rain, because if it's going to be consistent rain the entire weekend, we only have 3 sets of wets and 4 sets of inters, so we're going to have to be very careful with how we manage our tyres, and thus that might mean limited running in practice and setup knowledge, so this could be interesting. Now, one thing I've noticed, Seb has 42% on ERS in terms of durability, and Lance has a similar issue, but is on 38, minor damage. So we may have to go for a change here. We'll do the change on both cars. I do think there's going to be grid penalties arriving soon, and I've already been told that we want to make sure we don't go to the power circuits with old components, so there is going to be some penalties down the line. Okay, so we have green flag and dry track, so we're wasting no time. We're going to send both the boys out. And we're going to try and get as much running as possible. Normally I'd go hard tyres, but because of the rain, I'd rather get just some better feedback on a better set of tyres and just see what happens. I don't know if there's a way to check the weather forecast in this at the moment. It's hard to tell. I'm still kind of learning on the job, really. But yeah, it looks like I can't see any rain here on the forecast. Bit of overcast. So it might be a dry session, to be fair. Maybe FP2 is going to be wet. If that's the case, then we're going to have to work hard in FP1 to get this knowledge and get the car fine-tuned. Well, so far it's been a pretty smooth session, really. Not a single incident. Everyone's driving pretty well. We've got both drivers set to driving clean now. We should be getting our first bit of feedback coming in any second now from Seb, and then closely followed by Lance, as always.
Sebastian, any thoughts on setup options?
Car was good. All good here.
Copy.
Well, it's a good start. Let's see what Lance has to say. And then we'll bring both drivers in and send them out.
How does it feel, Lance?
The car's just all over the place.
Copy that.
Well, we didn't do too bad. It's actually quicker than Seb right now, so fair play. Let's bring them both in, though. And we'll call them in for their stops. And we will make some adjustments. Right, Lance, 38%. Unhappy with pretty much everything except for the straights. I kind of expected, to be fair. Lance's kind of preset window isn't very good, so it takes a bit more work to fine tune. This is a pretty tough setup to get right. I'm really struggling to find a window here with Lance's car. There's always one value that I can't seem to get in line. In this case, the traction is not really as to one side as I'd like it to be, but I can't seem to change that too much. We'll try this though anyway. We'll go for a nice long run, try to get loads of feedback. The more laps you do, the more feedback you're going to get. And they're going to just basically run now until the end of the session. So we're going to fuel them up, 25 laps, and commit. As for Seb, we've got a bit of a black and white situation here. So 3 bads, 2 greats. Let's try and fine tune it 56%. A lot better to the sweet spot. I'm pretty confident this will be a pretty decent improvement. I wanted the oversteer to be a bit better, but we've got some big changes coming up. So let's see if Seb's happy. We'll go for the hard tyre. We will go for a bit more fuel, and we will send them both out on their runs now for the second half of FP1. Crash on track, first one of the session. We'll get a replay and see who it was. This might be the AI's mistake.
Copy.
Hamilton, turn 10, hairpin.
Let's see what happened there. Now watch this. Lewis Hamilton involved in this one.
Is he going to get hit in the rear? No, he just
Dear me,
locks up.
They won't have been expecting that.
Oh, that was a bit of a soft one.
How does it feel?
Yeah. It's not bad. I think it's okay.
Copy.
Okay, so Lance is relatively happy. Let's see if Seb provides decent feedback. 74%. Both drivers in full attack mode now. Fuel and tyres. Battery in default mode. Stroll looking very sharp so far.
The checkered flag is now out.
But there we go, as we just said, positive start to FP1. Stroll in the top 5 on the hard tyre, 6/10 off Verstappen. Seb P10, and early signs, even though Seb's happy with the setup, Stroll seems to be on pace. Maybe that is something that's in the game. The drivers have a bit of a home race advantage, which I hope is a thing. That would be pretty cool. But Lance Stroll delivering straight away. Seb as well, both cars in the top 10. Elsewhere, after that session, we've got 42% track acclimatization on both, 100% car part knowledge now after FP1, so they know exactly the car they're driving. And Seb confidence actually is now a little bit higher on Lance compared to Seb, so we should be able to get that dialed in FP2. However, now I am expecting rain, so let's see what happens. So with Lance, we've gone with everything being on bad, except for one good, to now great, optimal, great, great, bad. So we're just going to work on the straights, which I knew was kind of an issue anyway, and try and fine tune it. I'm happy with this. This could be the way to go if I'm right. So we're going a bit more to one side, to the extreme with great. It might be more towards the inside. This is the thing I've got to try and figure out. Cornering though is a bit more central. That's going to be good. Optimal, the same. Traction, slightly more centered. And then straights are inside the bracket, so this should do the trick. As for Seb, we've got optimal and then a bad, oversteer, great, good, great. So this is going to take a little bit more work. Okay, I'm pretty happy with this. Oversteer has been flipped to the other side. Optimal still the same, cornering a little bit tweaked, same as the straights, and traction with a relatively big tweak to the center. This should do the trick hopefully. So rain, as you can see, arrives here shortly. So It's going to interrupt the session. So waste no time. We will send them both out and just get some feedback on that medium tyre.
Rain still coming on.
Okay.
Okay, so it's getting dark. It is on the way. You can see 25% chance of rain in 1 minute. But it says sun and clouds, so not rain quite yet. We'll see how long it takes for it to arrive. Okay, here we go. In 4 minutes, 85% chance of rain. This is the serious stuff. So we'll see how that works out. Let's just keep an eye on things here. Right, it's raining, so we're not going to waste time. We're just going to bring them in and call this run short. Don't want to risk having a crash. That's the last thing we want right now, so we will just put them in conserve modes and bring the car back to the pits. Well, here we go. For the first time ever, we are going to experience wet weather conditions as we bolt on a set of intermediates, and we're going to find out what the track conditions are saying. We're going to try and gather some data, as there could be rain over the rest of the weekend as well, so that could be key for us. As you can see, we've got a wet phase. We've got them on 22 laps of fuel, so hopefully they'll just cover the entire wet period, more or less, and just basically get, you know, car feedback, setup feedback, and then we'll just basically hope FP3 maybe just try to get some setup adjustments in. But what I hope for is that we don't have to completely flip the setup because of the wet weather, which could be an issue. Track condition has changed to wet. Does that mean full wet tyres? Let me see. Inters for Checo. I want to see what tyres everybody's on. Inters for Leclerc. Alonso. Full wets. Magnussen is also on the wets, just like Alonso. Everybody else on inters. This weather's going to be here for a while. I have to bring them in, to be fair. I'm just going to simulate time a little bit. The heavy rainfall is still falling, and I can see the amount of water on track. It's going down gradually lap by lap. So once we get light rainfall, oh, there we go, that rainfall. That's why the sim is just paused. We can send them back out. So we'll put them back out on the same tyres. We're on 95%, so it's not really an issue. They can just go again on the same fuel and just basically go nice and long. So this is an experience for me. This is all new, but we're learning on the job. It's all good. We'll confirm the fuel as well. 22 laps, there we go. Right, let's send them back out.
What's your thoughts, Sebastian, on coming in or doing any more?
Well done. Car was great.
Yeah, copy that.
As you can see, Seb very happy with his car. Let's see what Lance has to say in terms of feedback. Hopefully, it's on the right track. Feedback's in.
How's the balance?
Yeah, good job. Book the car.
Copy.
Okay, so both drivers are happy. That's good to see. We'll just keep them running in these conditions for now, as the rain is here to stay. So look at this, optimal on everything except for traction with Lance, so that is very good. We'll try and adjust that now if we can, and see if we can find an improvement. There we go, that's pretty easy, just a small adjustment, but that should do the trick. As for Seb, everything looking nice, great, everything optimal traction. We can definitely improve this though, so let's try and work on it. Okay, we'll go with this and see what happens. We're going to get this feedback in FP3 though, so yeah, optimal pretty much the same, and then we've got a few tweaks to the grates, except for the straights. Straights are pretty much the same, to be fair. Oh, look at this. Okay, so it's actually sunny, but the track's soaking wet. I rate that. Okay, that's sick, I like that. I also like how you can see here the track rubber is very low, which is a good thing in the wet, but it's a bad thing in the dry. But it's green because we're in wet conditions right now, but here we are, we're approaching dry. Everyone's out on inters, I'm assuming, but once that drops below 1, we should be in dry tyre territory. 7 minutes to go though. I don't really think we're going to get much running in though, to be honest, but we will try and send them out. And there we have it then. So FP2 finished after our first taste of the wet conditions. Perez fastest. We are down in P15 and P16 on the medium tyre. So there's your lot for FP2. As for the stats, you can see track acclimatization is pretty low, 55%. Not ideal. We might go on a medium tyre run FP3 and just basically get laps under our belt. Sub-confidence will remain to be seen. We'll find out once we get that feedback in FP3, so let's get into it.
Welcome back as we continue our race weekend with practice soon to finish and then qualifying hot on its heels. Each team will be looking to build on the progress they made during yesterday's practice sessions. When it comes to preparation, absolutely nothing should be left to chance. Everything has to be just right. Of course, by the time the cars hit the track, Well, there are some things in Formula One that no one can prepare for. Here we go, folks. It's time to get started.
Now, we had rain forecast on Saturday as well, but FP3 is dry, which leads me to believe we are going to have rain in qualifying. So, a dry FP3, no interruptions, which means we can send both guys out and get to work, and we'll get that setup feedback. We're going to go for a long stint here, and then we'll just go for like a glory run on softs at the end of the session. But we're basically doing this one to rack up laps and build up the track acclimatization, which is going to be the main goal here. So, yeah, both drivers on their way. Let's see what happens. There's been a crash, multiple cars involved. Let's find out and see what happened there. Gasly was one of them, I just saw.
Virtual safety car.
Okay.
Car in the wall.
What is another VSC?
Let's have a look. Now look at this. It's Pierre Gasly.
So, both Williams, both AlphaTauris running line astern. Oh!
No! And there's the crash. Mark my words, there'll be questions asked about that later.
Friendly fire AlphaTauri, and that could be a penalty, a group penalty for Pierre for the race.
Sebastian, any thoughts on setup options?
Car was great.
Copy.
Seb happy.
What do you think?
I'm happy with the car.
Copy.
And for the homeboy, it's optimal, which is exactly what we want. So we've still got plenty of fuel. So we're just racking up the laps. You can see we're only on 67% track acclimatization. So we're going to keep working on that. 100% for Lance though, so we're good to go. Seb 91, we've lost a bit with Seb. So it's going to take a bit of work, but we'll try and, get that knowledge for the final run on softs. To be fair, I'm going to have some fun with it. We're going to put Lance to push.
Push more.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily have to go out again with Lance now that we've got these set
No
up.
saving required.
Yeah, okay.
As for Seb, I'm actually going to call him in because we've got time here to make adjustments and fine-tune this. So we'll bring his car in and see what we can do. Now we've lost the optimal traction and now the braking stability is optimal. So let's try and fine-tune this a little bit. All right, let's go for a few more changes. This is a bit more risky, but we'll see how it goes. The straights are going to be a bit more centered. Also, the ones on great are getting small tweaks, and then the optimal staying the same. The good's getting a pretty big adjustment here, so we'll see if this works.
What's your thoughts on coming in or doing any more?
Well done. Car was great.
Copy.
A shame the one chief, we're losing confidence. This isn't what I hoped for. We're in the wrong ballpark here. We're in the wrong direction. I'm gonna respect his best settings on all the setup and see what happens. The highest confidence up is 93, but I think we can still do better. Only thing is, this would be now taking a risk going into qualifying. Which do we want to be taking? That's the question. Okay, this would represent a mixture of the highest confidence in all the values, as you can see here, except for toe and tyre camber. The tyre camber I've moved because his highest confidence isn't what the optimal was on. The optimal was a bit more in the center here, which is where I've left the value. So I wanted to keep the optimal. Braking stability I've kept the same, and then oversteer should be in line. This should do the trick. Only thing is we're not going to have time to get the feedback in time. So we're going to take a risk with this in qualifying. We'll send it back out though anyway, and keep getting that track acclimatization up and dialing in the setup. We'll put him out in that old medium set and just have a bit of fun with it. We'll send him out low on fuel, so it's quicker to get him out. To be fair, in hindsight, I wish I hadn't called Seb in and just left him to finish his run. I could have got a better track acclimatization, whereas with Lance we're going to get 100. We're not going to achieve 100 with Seb, which is a shame. But anyway, Lance doing this thing. Fantastic session from him, really. Really happy with his performance. Glad to see he's got the car sorted out this weekend. Out of all the races, this was the one. Right then, job done in FP3. Verstappen quickest. I put Seb out on a glory run on that old medium with quite a bit of push, and he got P7. So pace is there. Lance is the ace in the hole this weekend, the ace in the sleeve. I think this could be his weekend. This might save his drive for now. As you can see, absolutely perfect with Lance all round. This is the first time this season we've achieved this with him, and I'm very happy. Bit more of a struggle with Seb. Performance bonus is going to be an issue as well. it is what it is. I'm going to take a gamble. I'm going to commit to this setup in qualifying and hope it works out. Of course, rain is going to be in the equation as well, so that could be a real wild card. So qualifying is dry by the looks of it. No rain forecast from what I can tell here, at least for the next 18 minutes anyway, which is the duration of Q1. If we get into Q2, things might change. So let's send the boys out. We've got them both on a 2-lap run, as we like to do on that first one in Q1, just to kind of, you know, give them a couple of laps. And yeah, we'll then see how things evolve. Right, let's get that early feedback in. Let's see what we can do. We've got Stroll essentially giving Vettel a tow, which I think is fair in the sense that, you know, Seb is the main driver in the team. He's performing better, and also he needs a bit of help, so a tow might be the difference. Gearbox wear, really? 39%. Ooh, that's an issue. Not ideal. Anyway, they're both on their cool-off laps before we go for a second push. Okay, second push laps then on the way. No traffic. Not many cars going out, to be fair. It's a pretty clear track right now. Track conditions aren't great, so it's to be expected. But anyway, let's get a second set of bankers on the board. Both personal bests in the middle sector. Can we trump Mick Schumacher? Not quite, but it's decent pace. Right, let's bring them in. Although they're already coming in, so there we go, that's already sorted out for us. Seb, though, showing pace in the first run. We'll flip the cars around for the second run and see if that does actually provide an advantage. Now, I'm actually going to wait until the end of the session and hope for some track evolution. Conditions aren't great, and I'd like to save some tyres because I do think we could get through here. So saving a set of tyres could be really key. Now, the pace is legit. You can see Stroll is out, P17 right now in the drop zone. Seb, P13. That gap in between both drivers is a bit of a pocket. And if you look at Seb, if he can just find like half a tenth, that'd be P11. So we're definitely in that P11 battle. So now we're going to try and send the boys out last and get the best track conditions possible for this final run. So timing of this will be key. We're going to measure the cars left in the pit lane. We can go out with about 130 to spare. We'll go for the track view here. Right, there we go. So we'll send Seb out first this time, and we'll have Stroll follow in the tow. Could have actually sent him out a little bit earlier, to be fair, but we shouldn't have any issues with lap time. Right, 15 seconds to go. This is going to be close. This is actually going to be really close. We're not going to make it. Oh my god, I fucked it. And we're out. Ocon improved to P8. That's it, it's done. Gasly improved, but didn't go faster than Seb. Oh, we missed out by 8 thousandths of a second. We could have got both cars through, although it depends what lap time Mick Schumacher does. Let's see. He didn't even improve. Oh my god, we could have actually got both cars through. God, what a mistake. What a disaster. I hold my hands up. Like Monaco, I've got it wrong. That is horrific. Oh, no. I mean, Seb will start P15 thanks to Tsunoda's penalty. I think Stroll might start P17 as well, actually. But that is a disaster. Now you can see the rain is scheduled to arrive at the midway point of the race. So with that in mind, we're going to start on a set of mediums and get to the wet phase and then put the inters on if necessary. We've got a bit of rain, dry rain you can see here. So it could be like a medium into soft maybe. So we'll just make sure we're starting on mediums. That's the main thing we want this race. We'll just extend the stint out a bit. And that should do the trick.
It's a somewhat overcast day for the drivers, who've now taken position on the grid. And there's Sebastian Vettel. They're starting in the bottom half of the grid today, so there's a lot of cars between them and the podium. There's Lance Stroll, down the grid. With their starting position in the back 10, they'll have their work cut out for them. The teams are ready to go. The drivers are ready and raring to go. It's the Canadian Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
Right, let's do this. Both drivers underway. On the mediums, we've got them on full push. I am going to burn fuel here because we should be able to save fuel in the rain. I'm hoping that is how it works as well. Stroll getting past Gasly here by the looks of it. There we go.
That's it.
One down.
Nicely done.
Meanwhile, Seb getting ahead of Norris. You
Looks
just
like
saw that.
Aston Martin have just gained a race position. Here's the replay. Now let's have a look. It's Lance Stroll.
There's the move into turn 2 up the inside of Pedro Gasioso, as you can see. Lovely. And of course Seb also getting past Lando Norris as well. So a place up each at the start of this race. Good progress.
Aston Martin with a great play there. They've moved up a place. We can take a look now. Let's have a look here. This was the Aston Martin.
Up the inside of turn 3 and then 4 on the exit. Nicely done. So, Stroll looking for a move on Tsunoda. Meanwhile, Seb getting past Mick Schumacher. And there we go. So, flying start from Sebastian Vettel. We'd love to see it. What tyres is everybody on? Okay, we've got everyone on medium set for 2 drivers. And Pierre. Let's quickly watch that back.
Closer look. So this was the Aston Martin.
Up the inside. Under the bridge. Schumacher just backs off. Didn't even want to try and go side by side there. Easy enough. What about Stroll? Look at this. Side by side with Tsunoda. Onto the back straight. Who's got the horsepower? Looks like the AlphaTauri's got the legs. Let's see if Stroll can fight back. It will speed up to 2 times. There's also Seb looking for the move on Ocon here. Come on, Stroll. Let's look for that move, son. Let's try and make these moves up. Let's try and progress. You've got a perfect car underneath you this weekend. I know the gearbox is a bit worn, but hopefully the rest of the car works well. I've taken a chance with the gearbox, but you know, we only recently replaced it. There goes Seb though, lap 2. Looking for the move on Ocon, not quite able to get by. Ricciardo holding up a little bit the pace here, you can see. Meanwhile, here goes Stroll up the inside of the hairpin, and this time it's done. Lovely jubbly. Tsunoda trying to fight back, but Stroll will stay in front and will now chase after Lando.
DRS is enabled, Lance.
Okay. We will just calm things down a little bit.
So back off.
Yeah, copy.
In a moment, once Lance gets this move done. Come on, Lance, let's go. Let's try and get Norris here. Very important move. Yes. Fantastic, come on. There it is. Lovely.
Let's take a look at the replay. Let's have a look here. This was the Aston Martin.
This is a pretty good scrap actually, all the way from the pit straight through this entire first, few corners, this entire sequence. Okay, Lance has done his bit, so we can just cool things down a little bit as we settle into this.
Yeah, take it easy.
Yeah, okay.
Just settling into this phase of the race, no need to stress out. Oh wow, Seb is flying. He's got past Ricciardo. We'll get a replay of that briefly. So Seb trying to keep up with Ocon here.
Let's see what happened there. Taking a look again, it involves Sebastian Vettel.
Look at that. Oh, what a scrap. 3 wide nearly. Schumacher getting involved, but that is an excellent move from Sebastian Vettel. Getting ahead. Love that. Yeah, we're flying now, making great progress. We'll see if we can make some with Lance now as well. Important that if we do go for the pass, we get within a second of Zhou and Magnussen and Bottas, to be fair. Those guys, they're in the same ballpark. Seb has got through now, so we're going to go for a bit of push.
Looks like Aston Martin have just gained a race position. Let's have a look. So this was the Aston Martin.
Down the pit straight, as you can see, using the horsepower and the DRS to get the job done. Just saw Stroll, they're just starting to trail off a little bit, so we want to make sure we stay close with him. And Seb has got himself into DRS range, which is crucial. We needed that. We'll confirm it now when I look at the delta. Yeah, we are cutting the gap down, so that's good. This is a great battle. Look at this. Look at the train all the way up to P10, and Bottas and Magnussen aren't out of reach. Seb goes through on Zhou into the top 10 in standard modes. We're going to crank it up though to catch up to Magnussen here. Just keeping an eye on Seb here. Ocon looking for the move. I will just put him back to neutral. Lance out of energy. We're going to have to go to saving mode with him for now. Two-phase looking okay. P15 ahead of Norris. A couple of new fastest laps are coming in here. Meanwhile, Seb has got past Magnussen.
Taking a look again, it involves Sebastian Vettel.
Easy move down the straight again. The 3 DRS zones are making it very easy to make progress this race. There we go, P9. Well, we're in the scrap for points today. We messed up in qualifying, but we're taking full advantage in the race. I'm going to let Stroll do his thing. Even if he drops back a little bit, we need to harvest the battery. For Seb, though, we can afford to burn a little bit here, so we're going to go in attack mode. We're going to try and close in on Bottas. P8 is on the table, and I intend to take it. We are chewing through our tyres a bit more than others, especially with Stroll on 78%. Seb on 81, he's not looking too bad, but we're pushing. Seb now 2 seconds behind Bottas as we try to push after Valtteri. We're getting close to DRS range. Oh, there we go.
You can use energy. Use energy. You can use energy.
Magnussen going through. I will have Seb sit behind him for now and recharge. If we work together, we can catch Bottas, so I don't mind.
Haas with an overtake.
Just need to be careful. Come on, Seb, don't let him by too easily. Okay, let's go. Back to work. DRS open? Yes, okay, lovely. As for Lance, we're looking at a full charge, so I'm going to just cool the tyres off for a moment here, and we will get going again. So Seb has held on to Magnussen, and we've dropped Ocon out of DRS range, which is excellent. Just trying to coast at the moment as we manage our fuel and our battery. Bottas isn't running away, so we're looking okay. As for Lance, I've got him in a bit of tar saving mode here, just because we have been burning through our rubber a bit. We've got enough fuel and battery to just keep in standard modes for now. We've definitely got points here with both cars on the table, because even Lance is in the scrap here. As I say that, Seb having a scrap with Magnussen, but hopefully doesn't get past. I don't want him to get by. We'll go for a bit of tar saving for a bit. Oh, Seb again overtaken by Zhou. Just saw that out of nowhere. We don't want that, so we will get back on it.
That was a position gained for Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, we saw that, and Zhou looking for me on Magnussen here. We'll try to get them both back. That's all good. As for Lance, you can see he's putting pressure on Ricciardo now. Got him in standard modes all around. Trying to save his tyres a bit if I can before I start to really push, because we've burned up Lance's rubber a bit more than others. You can see he's 6% down. Seb's done okay. You know, he's held on better than Lance, but just got to try and save some tyres here, which isn't ideal. Look at that. Norris gets through. Oh, Seb on Zhou. Let's just go for it. Why not? Let's push a little bit here with Seb. Seb now putting pressure on Magnussen, and we'll see if we can try and get Bottas again. I might use some deploy this time rather than overtake. We'll see if that makes any difference. We'll go full push for a whole lap. Fast lap of the Grand Prix.
Aston
Says a lot.
Martin with a great play there. They've moved up a place.
Just one big push lap here, where we drain everything, and I think it's going to work, you know. Deploy sometimes can be the way to go rather than gradually using the battery. Come on, Seb. Get him, get him. Once we get close, we can sit behind and just save and recharge. As for Lance, you can see he's up to P13. We've got Schumacher, Ocon, Norris in the pit lane. Possible early stops. I'm just going to have Lance sit behind Ricciardo for now. I think he's looking pretty comfortable, so we don't have to push too much. And right now, we are absolutely chilling with Seb. Things are looking really, really strong with him. And to be fair, Stroll looking healthy as well. Really healthy. We're going to do a bit of work here to try and keep a bit of fuel and ERS back. More cars coming in ahead. Hamilton, Alonso, they start on soft, of course. Surprisingly, the other guys that pit, they start on mediums and they've already bitten the bullet. So we'll see how that works. Looks like Seb will get ahead of both. So up to P7 for him. Could be an P7, depending on when this rain arrives. Stroll P13, doesn't benefit from the stops, but still. We're going to have him push in a minute and hopefully get past and drop Ricciardo. Once we get the battery charged, we're going to go for a bit of a tar save. because I feel like tyres could be key now as we approach the wet phase, rather than, you know, go flat out. We might want to keep some rubber back for when the track starts to get wet. Sonoda's challenging Lance without DRS. This is bad news. We'll try and get back past, but this isn't ideal.
Gained a place.
You could have done that without any DRS whatsoever, which is a bit of a surprise. I'm very comfortable with Seb though. Zhou has rejoined the party and has dragged Magnussen with him. Alonso and Hamilton also behind. But we're looking pretty comfortable right now. I can't lie. Did Seb just try to go for a move? He did. Let's just go standard modes with Seb and see what we can do. I'm not going to force him to try and stay in front. We'll let him do his thing. Standard mode should be fine for him. But yeah, Lance, you can see here in a scrap with Ricciardo and Tsunoda. Carlos Sainz in the pits, so Seb will gain a place on Bottas in the meantime. Sainz does rejoin just in front. Oh dear. Oh dear.
Let's take a closer look. Let's have a look here. This was the Aston Martin. Well, they've locked up. They won't have been happy about that.
I want to know if Seb hit the wall. No. Okay, we're still alive, but we've lost ground. We will go back to push. Okay, so Seb's back within range. Good job, Sebastian.
Some lift and coast will help that.
Okay.
As for Lance, he's behind Seb. Ricciardo Tsunoda have pit, so I'm going to take a risk here. Zhou in the pit lane. Bottas and Magnussen were ones to pit as well.
There is a small sprinkling of rain.
Copy that.
Right, this is it. I'm going to take a moment and we're going to try and think everything out. Okay, the dry is about to hit 1, so we're going to pit the drivers this lap. We're going to stack them. 6-second gap should be manageable. You can see the weather's going to get worse, so intermediate time. Strategy conflict, doesn't matter. Inters for Seb. Pit this lap. And Stroll enters this lap. Pit this lap. Go conserve and basically recharge.
Copy.
And here we go then. The double stack is on its way. As you can see, here's Lance making his way in. Everybody's in right now. You can see Perez, Russell, Leclerc have stayed out. So Seb in.
Yeah, take it easy.
Okay.
Let's see how bad this double stack is or how good. Looks fine to me. A little bit slow, but that's okay. 2.8, that is perfect. So a successful double stack and we're back underway. Right then. So let's go just balance modes for now as we get up to speed in these conditions. And let's see how things go. Signs
Aston
and
Martin with a great play there. They've moved up a place.
well, that's Stroll making progress, but Russell, Leclerc in the pits, and we've jumped them. So we're now P6 with Seb, and we've got the fastest lap, by the way. So that could be a point this race. Stroll now P9, so some cars have had to stay out for a second lap, and it's completely backfired. So right now, we are looking great. Stroll just 1.9 behind Leclerc. Meanwhile, Seb,
Lock up on the track.
P5, someone else's pit. Either way, we're looking great. Seb's actually caught back up to Alonso here. He was 3 seconds behind, but he's now within a second. So we're not even that far off a podium, you know. Hamilton and Verstappen are all just up the road. Could we dream of a podium? Perez in again. The weather isn't changing. Rainfall 1.47. It's going up slightly now, so conditions could be getting worse. Stroll up to P7 as well. This is insane. Stroll does have company though, in the form of Mr. Charles Leclerc. Bottas a bit further back, and Magnussen. We've timed this stop for Inters beautifully. I've put both drivers on aggressive and push on fuel. So we're not going to be on these tyres until the end of the race. If we look at the forecast really quickly here, I want to just see rain for another moment, as you can see up until about this point, and then we're in for dries again. So actually I might even leave them on aggressive and just let them push a bit. Seb has dropped back a little bit from Alonso, but still we're keeping in the fight, man. You can see the rainfall is picking up a little bit now. We're over 2 now. Worth noting, if you look at the last lap, Look at this. Pace is great. Both cars, fantastic. We should get a pace update from Lance here just to see what he can do now with a bit more push. Look at that, both drivers below the 23s. Phenomenal. We're actually really quick in the rain. Okay, both drivers struggling with overheating tyres, so I've set them to standard fuel mode as well. That might cost us a little bit of performance and overall pace, but still, I mean, look at this. P5 and P7. This could be a season-defining points haul here today. Rainfall has picked up.
Rain, all clear.
Copy.
And as I say that, it's literally stopped. So now we're going to go into the dry phase. So let's see when we pit for dries. This is going to be a bit more complicated. Obviously, we've got aim for the 1.0 as our target when to pit. Okay, this could be the lap. 130 on rainfall. It's touch and go. We'll leave them out one more. But this lap now will be the one to pit for dries. I could have maybe gone with Stroll to be fair, but we'll try and extend by one more lap.
Track is pretty dry, so don't damage these tyres, especially high speed.
Yeah.
Let's get a visual to see the track conditions. I mean, it looks okay. The queue is going to be of signs of Verstappen pit. They don't. Does Hamilton pit? This would be the deciding factor here. Hamilton stays out. We're going to stay out one more lap at least, I think. Track rubber low, track grip low. That would be the case if we went to dry tyres. The longer we extend this in, the better it's going to be for the dries afterwards. Oh, look at that. Stroll stayed out, whereas Bottas and Leclerc pit. So this is going to be the lap now. Okay, I've decided we're going to go softs.
Box.
They can do 37 laps, and this would be a 25 lap stint. Seb has kept up nicely with Fernando. We're going to go into the harvesting modes now as we bring them in. As you can see, Lance actually has been fine on his own. Obviously, we're going to see now if he gets undercut by Bottas and Leclerc. But even then, he should still be in the points. Russell stays out as Hamilton's in, so Mercedes not double stacking. That's going to help take some pressure off Seb. But there we go. There's Seb, well out of the way. This double stack shouldn't be without a hitch. All looks good to me. 2.8 for Seb, 2.7 for Lance, so excellent stops. And we're back underway. We're going to put Seb on standard modes and just let him coast, basically. As you can see, 2.4 behind Alonso. As for Lance, we're going to go standard modes as well. Get him back in the race. He's just behind Bottas, and Bottas just behind Leclerc, so we haven't lost too much. Let's see what tyres everybody's on. So, majority on softs, Leclerc mediums, because he had a fresh set. Everybody else soft tyres. I'm glad we went for this. We'll just try and hold the pace now for the rest of the race. Russell in the pit lane, so that should promote Seb into the top 5 for car number 5. I'm going to push with Seb. We're going to try and get within Alonso's DRS, especially because Russell is 2 seconds behind. Lance is chilling right now. Going to try and save a bit of tyres. Well, to be fair, he's about to draw out DRS range, so I don't really want that. He might have just lost it, actually.
We can lean on the tyres more.
Okay, no, he's still got DRS. As for Seb, this time we do have DRS, I'm convinced. Surely. Got to be DRS, got to be. There we go. Right. Let's charge up. Well, I've got to say, Leclerc hasn't got away, although he is a medium, so he will have an advantage. Alonso and Seb have spot places briefly on that lap, but we're still chilling behind Fernando. Trying to harvest battery. Tyre saving is not far, which we'll do now. We're going to go back to the deploy. And a bit of conserve. I don't want to pass Alonso. We've got enough of a buffer until Russell arrives that we can just chill. So try and save some tyres. We're looking pretty good right now. Perez has got past though, which is annoying, but to be expected.
Looks like Aston Martin have just gained a race position. We can take a look now. Let's have a look here. This was the Aston Martin.
Here's the move. Down into, I believe, turn 7. Up the inside. 6 World Championships going at it.
Position there. Oh, they make it.
Nicely done from Sebastian there. But yeah, we're looking at a P4 this race. Very, very exciting. Tyre wear, by the way. Seb on 75, slightly better than others. We want to stay in the fight with Mr. Lance Stroll in his home Grand Prix. There's definitely a P7 up for grabs in this race, so I intend to take it. As he's looking to get past Bottas. Let's actually commit to a move here. Let's see if we can try and get past Valtteri. We'll go for overtake. Actually, we'll go deploy instead. That's more effective. Full push here with Lance in his home Grand Prix. Let's try and stick with Perez. If we can stick with Checo, that would be really, really good for us in this race. Here we go. Come on, Lance. Do it for the home crowd. Get on the brakes. No. Come on, Lance. Try again. Go, go, go. Come on, come on, come on. Around the outside. Yep. Lovely, lovely. All right, go, go, go. Drive, drive, drive. Can't believe we're actually trying to catch a Ferrari here. On mediums, by the way, which is a much better compound for this stage of the race. Come on, Lance. Push, push, push. You're nearly there, you're nearly there. 1.1. Alright, let's see. Out of battery, but does he have DRS? No, he doesn't somehow. Wow, really? That's surprising. Bottas might come through here. Not quite close enough. Meanwhile, Seb has been dropped a bit, so we're going to just push a little bit here.
You can stop, lift and coast.
Copy.
Important that we don't get dropped. As now Lance dicing up with Bottas.
This is a joke.
Stroll has just dropped out of range. Meanwhile, Seb is in that scrap with Russell and Alonso. But yeah, Stroll just dropping out of range here. I'm going to make him push a little bit with overtake to see if he can close the gap. I don't think it's happening though. We'll use a bit of deploy and attack mode to try and make use of the fresher tyres. Although to be fair, we're only 2% over now. Seb's got 57. He's got great tyres. We've definitely burned up the rubber with Lance a bit here.
Here's the replay. Taking a look again, it involves Sebastian Vettel.
This scrap is absolutely bonkers. Like, these three are just going at it. Alonso is now in front of both of them. Yeah, this is a good scrap. But P4 is on the agenda. It's on the cards here. The tyre saving is working well. We've got an advantage over both drivers, about 4%. We've got fuel to burn. This is looking very, very healthy. So, yeah, as long as we stay in the mix, we're all good. As for Lance, he's just dropped off. We just don't have the pace at the moment. I am trying to harvest a bit, but it's costing him too much time. So we're going to go for one last push to try and get back in the mixer here. But I feel like Lance just lacked a little bit in this final phase of the race. I think Stroll's gearbox issue might be a problem. Maybe he's struggling for pace a bit. I don't know. But we're looking at P10 right now. And oh my god, no!
Let's take a closer look. Taking a look again, it involves Sebastian Vettel.
Why has he driven into the wall?
That crash is terrible news for the team.
Seb. Oh my god, he's got no wing. Oh my god, we've just... Seb, P4! No! We could go for a fastest lap, to be fair with Seb, and go flat out. We should still be okay for points, I think. 24-second gap to Magnussen between Stroll and him, and then there's other cars in between us. I'm going to put Stroll into neutral, just to make sure we don't run out of battery. But yeah, we'll bring Seb in. Go full attack. He's not lost much to say he's not got a wing. But in we go. Oh, that's such a shame. P4, man. It was on. But Seb's made his first mistake of the season. And there's been two of them in the same race. 8.1. That's not the best stop in the world. But we should be out comfortably behind Lance. Right then. So, 3 laps to go. We will just go
Back off.
standard.
Okay.
Chassis damaged as well, which isn't ideal. So we will get double points, but it's not going to be the double points that I really hoped for, which is a shame. Let's just push Seb flat out and just go for it, starting from the next lap. So Lance is out of juice onto the last lap. Seb does set a fastest lap of the race with a purple second sector. Last lap of the race, let's bring it home. It's going to be double points finish for us as Verstappen wins.
Over the finish line and today's winner.
And not just that, it's going to be Alonso who gets P4. By the looks of it, he's going to hold on from George. So there we go, that could have been us today, but we messed it up. Seb with a crucial error. Perez on the line, almost gets it. Then comes Bottas. Then Stroll, P9 in his home Grand Prix.
We have low batteries.
Fair play. And Sebastian Vettel across the line. There we go.
Checkered flag, what's it?
Woof. That was tough. But that was fun.
Well done, Lance Stroll. Excellent result for a Canadian driver. Aston Martin having an extremely good day at the track.
I agree, this was all very impressive. And it's obviously the work of a solid, well-run team.
After the race, they sit in 7th place in the constructor standings.
For the next round, we're heading back to the heart of the UK. Get ready for a race to remember in Silverstone, the cradle of Formula One.
Well, mixed feelings on that one. I really am mixed. You know, we didn't get lapped with neither car, which is progress. Fast up of the Grand Prix with Sebastian Vettel, 15-0. But it could have been P4. It could have been 12 brilliant points. Instead, we settled for 2, so 10 points less. But still, both cars in the top 10, 2 points apiece, which is 4 in total. And that is big progress. And an awesome recovery after qualifying, which I completely messed it up. Should have got both cars into Q2. So the race pace is good. The pace in the wet is good. And our strategy was on point today. So very happy for our first wet race. And we have rain forecast for the next race in Silverstone. For now, though, Drivers' Championship, Seb stays in P11. But pulls away a little bit from Lando. Stroll with his first points moves into P15. And there you go. Happy days ahead of Ricciardo. And with that, we move on to the Constructors' Championship, which we're still P7, but nice +4 to our name, doubling our points tally of what McLaren have. And we're still 20 points adrift from AlphaTauri. Maybe we could try and push them a bit more, but yeah, happy days. And we hit our targets for this weekend, which is really good. We got the, except for qualifying, we messed up the qualifying, which we'll see now. But you can see a big points bonus. Both drivers get an extra development point as well, which is really exciting. And yeah, there we go. As for finances, you can see we've got quite a few outgoings. Of course, the bonus clause in Seb's contract, and also Lance as well. And then, of course, the guarantee, which we lost out a little bit, but still decent cash coming in. Manufacturing of the chassis has been complete, so we're going to get a spare. Manufacturing of the side pods is also complete, so happy days. And we should be getting the rear wing upgrade in time for the next race, our home race in Silverstone, the team's home race. Our factory, of course, right next door. First, though, let's spend development points. Now, looking at Seb, realistically, adaptability would be pretty cool, but I can also kind of control it myself. We're going to go for cornering again. Then we'll start working on braking, but I wanted to get his cornering up to 80. As for Lance, we will go for his braking because that is quite weak compared to everything else. And his rating is now 80, so good to see Lance improving. And to be fair, Stroll needed that. That is a big improvement for him, so very happy to see that. As for Seb, we still kind of negotiate his contract. We might try in a few races time, but obviously that race didn't help. 2 errors in the same Grand Prix. Now then, emails. Chassis manufactured, so as you can see we've got the spares. Got 3 in the warehouse. Side pods, of course, also manufactured. Scouting complete for Isaac Hadjar. Morale okay. 60 rated. Realistically, I probably won't entertain this, but it was recommended by the scout, but I've got other ideas. Mick Schumacher, 6 months left on his contract, but apparently I've seen a few people in the comments say he's not that great. So we're still evaluating. Of course, Gasly is also being scouted right now. Here is a review from Canada, and then we have the board expectations, and their confidence has grown. Let's see. So still the same as the start of the episode, but we now have, of course, 2 points finishes out of 11. We may take an engine penalty. We'll have to decide. Austria could be a good race circuit for that, realistically. Power circuit might be worth starting from the back. Okay, here we go. This is the final upgrade, the rear wing. We've now officially upgraded every single part of the car at least once. So, rear wing design complete. Let's view in the warehouse. You can see here the new one. Now, we need to manufacture some before the next race. So, we'll go ahead and we will rush 4 of them. So, we'll confirm that. Having said that, let's look at our spare parts. We've also got to look at this soon because, yeah, 44% on one engine, 69 the other, and then we've got one fresh engine left. As for the ERS, we're already on our second one, so this is going to be an issue. Gearbox as well, we're on our last legs here, so I think Austria could be the one, to be honest. Now we are going to invest in some more spares. We only have 2 chassis, which is the ones that we have. We are running a bit thin on parts, so we're going to manufacture 2 and we're going to rush those 2. It seems like most times when we have a crash or something, it does seem to affect the chassis. Front wing, we have 1 more in the warehouse. Of course, we binned it with Seb, so we are going to manufacture. We'll go for 2 because front wings can be broken more often. We'll go for 3 actually, and we'll confirm those. We'll rush them as well. We've got cash to spend, so we ain't got to worry about that. Rear wing, of course, we've got those 4 rear wings on the way. Side pod, we've got 2 spares in the warehouse, so we're pretty healthy there. Underfloor, also got 2 in the warehouse, so that's healthy. Suspension, only 1 spare, so we will go ahead, although we don't have capacity right now, so we'll have to wait until other parts arrive. Now though, it's officially time to begin research for next season. Now I've heard already on the grapevine, thanks to Discord comments and stuff, this is really powerful and this can make a big difference for us next season. So we're going to start early. You can see here a lot of things are happening. We are going to invest quite heavily. We're going to spend half of our CFD time on this. And we're going to do 40 of the hours on the wind tunnel. Big investment, but we want the car to perform well. But yeah, we're not going to go too aggressive. We'll go balanced because I want to make sure we've got a decent foundation for next year. We'll do 5 engineers. And there we go, that's that done. As you can see, we have an update on the board confidence. We've got a review in 1 month. So important to stay sharp and make the right moves and get the points. This race is going to be so important, Silverstone. The biggest race of the season. I'm feeling the pressure already. I want to make sure we deliver. It doesn't really suit our car, but this is a big race. We're going to install the new ones on both cars. We have no spares, so hopefully they don't stack it. But as you can see, we're on Spec 3 suspension, Spec 2 underfloor, Spec 2 side pod, Spec 2 rear wing, Spec 2 front wing, and Spec 2 chassis. So officially a different car to what we start the season with now. And as you can see, rank on grid 14th in top speed, 17th for the most part, 11th in acceleration, 14th in top speed, cornering, low speed 15th as well, not too shabby. High speed has gone up, we're 16th now, and that's good for this this race weekend at Silverstone. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Either way, progress made. But guys, that's it for me here today. Hopefully you enjoyed. Leave a like if you did, subscribe for more daily F1 content, and I'll be back soon with some more F1 Manager. As always, a massive shout out to the members for supporting the content. Finally, check out the 2 videos on screen if you haven't seen them already. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, take care, and it's goodbye from me.